Alla fine di questa giornata, a questo punto, è fondamentale sentire il lato proprio di chi si occupa in maniera profonda, filosofica, dell'economia circolare, e chi ha seguito il nostro webinar, la nostra preview del 18 maggio, la conosce già. Lei è Global Partners Manager della Ellen MacArthur Foundation e qui ripassiamo all'inglese e anche un po' al francese. Alice Bodreau, vous êtes là?
Bonjour.
Bonjour. Hello. We move immediately to English after we said hello. So you work with the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. Those who watched us online on May 18th know this maybe already, but it's a good occasion to remind them. So what is the Ellen MacArthur Foundation and why is your work so relevant today in this conference and today in the real world?
First of all, thank you for having me, and I'm very happy to be with all of you, albeit remotely online. So the Ellen MacArthur Foundation was founded 10 years ago with one ambition, which still drives us today, which is to accelerate the transition towards a circular economy. As you mentioned, we talked about it a little bit already in our event in May, but the circular economy is really a new way of practicing, the economy itself and viewing at the whole system we are all operating in. And I think it's very relevant today because we all know and we all have seen in the past couple of years in the media and so on how wasteful the current economy is. Just to give you, first of all, just to take a bit of a step back and understand what is the system we are operating in today. Yep. So today we are working in a linear economy, which means that we are taking the resources from the ground and to produce materials and to produce products and machinery and so on. And once those machinery and products are sold to customers use them and then throw them away quite quickly for some of the products we think about. What it means is that it's, again, a very linear economy. Take resources from the ground, produce products, and then waste them and throw them away. But it also, again, creates a lot of waste. Just to give you a couple of examples from different industries. In the food industry, for example, which isn't the print industry, but it still concerns all of us because we all need to eat at some point. 1/3 of the food production in Europe is wasted every year. When you think about it, the proportion, 1/3 of the food production is wasted. It seems quite insane. The first time I heard it, I really couldn't believe it. And it's mostly wasted during the whole value chain production, and then some part of it is wasted at the customer end. But it's a really great example, I think, to understand how the way we produce things today is quite wasteful in itself. And not just, again, at the consumer side of things. It can also be very wasteful in terms of the production line, the different suppliers, the different organization, including in the supply chain. And it's just one example. One of the other examples we like to mention at the foundation is around mobility, because, again, we all need to be mobile and travel now again from our house to our home office for those who are lucky enough to be able to go back to their home office or to go shopping and so on. And for those of us who have cars, if you think about the way we design and think about the mobility system and cars today, 92% of the time, the car spends its time in a parking lot, parked somewhere. Again, it's a huge mismatch between the way we design the mobility system and the way we use it. And a small example, again, most cars are actually designed to last, to transport 5 people. But actually, most of your transport journey, if you think about it, you are at the maximum 2 in the car and quite often alone. So again, there's a big mismatch between the way we produce things and the way the economy works generally, and actually the way we use it and the way we consume it. So that's kind of the realization that I think all of us is having right now, and I hope everybody listening today already has this realization or is realizing it today, that the way we produce things is quite wasteful. And oftentimes when I have this discussion with partners, people try to take a look back at their own industry and the way they produce things in their own company, and they realize that it's also the case in their own company and industry.
So, okay, this is these are the mistakes, let's say, and this is what the linear economy showed us, basically, the fact that we were taking stuff that's not infinite from somewhere and putting it back there when it's some form of waste. The circular economy is the opposite of that. Please briefly tell us how it works.
So basically the circular economy, the way it works, and again, to take back your word around the waste and the way we throw things away, I think it's interesting to think about, and it's something I have had to do myself in my own life and in my own way of consuming things, is as soon as you put a product that you have in the bin, most often it's going to end up in landfill. So we know we all have this image in mind. But what is also quite striking in thinking about as soon as you put something in the bin, its value is almost announced from the get-go. I mean, as soon as you throw it in the bin, there's no value attached to the product anymore. And it's a real waste for the ecologically, because again, it's going to end up in landfill and it's going to pollute and create all of the problem we know today. But the other impact is that all of the economic investment that went into the product, the material that is being used, but also the labor that went into the product, is also thrown away with the product when it's thrown away. So basically, the circular economy is challenging us to rethink the whole system and how we think about producing things, and to base this new system on three principles, which you can see here. The first one is to design out waste and product and pollution. So basically, at the design phase, when you're thinking about designing a new product or a new business models, you need to think about the end of life of the future products you're going to sell, or you're going to lend, or you're going to offer to your clients. What it means for this product and what will be the inevitable ways that is going to happen today, and how can you avoid it from the design phase originally. And I'll show later on, we'll discuss some examples of that. The second principle of the circular economy is to keep products and materials in use for the longest of time. So again, talking about the ecological impact, but also the economic value of the product. The aim is to keep this value at the highest level for the longest of times. And there are several ways to do it, and you can see them here on the graph. So this is a bit of a complex graph, which we call our butterfly diagram at the foundation. What you can see here is on the left side, you have all of the way you can keep materials in use for the biological cycle. And on the right side, you have all of the way you can keep materials in use for the technical cycle. So if I focus on the technical cycle, for example, the way you can keep the products in use is, first of all, some products that we are currently using and selling consumers are not used at the highest level. The car that I was talking about earlier, for example, spending 92% of its lifetime parked. Well, there are some sharing models which are being launched or are being tested these days, which allow consumers to actually share the car and for this product to be used and at its highest level and at a much more efficient way for the whole system, not just for the individual, but also for the whole system. For other type of products, the way to actually keep the product in use is to actually maintain the product at its highest quality, at the highest level of quality. Then it's to actually be able to prolong its life by refurbishing and remanufacturing the product. And at the very end, the last result is a recycling loop, meaning once you have gone through this sharing, remanufacturing, refurbishing loops, you can look at recycling the material that went into the product itself. I do want to mention the third pillar of the circular economy, which is to regenerate materials and biomaterials especially. Again, this touches upon the biocycle, and I think it's quite important for the print industry or for companies which produce fibers to be able to think about how to reuse and recycle as best as possible and at the highest quality as possible the fiber that you use, but also to be able to think about the ecosystem where the trees, for example, have been harvested from and the forests that are managed, and to make sure that they are managed in a way which sustain and protect the quality of the soil and of the biodiversity.
Excellent. Thank you, Alice. Thank you. Ellen MacArthur was a saleswoman And all the people who look at the Earth from far away did not see any difference anymore between what you produce, what you throw away, and everything. It's a whole package, and we have to take care of the whole package altogether. Thank you, Alice, for giving us the final speech and summarizing everything up. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. À bientôt.